Check, 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 check. Yeah, I don't know why Restream's got the camera flipped around. That's kind of scaring me, but I think I got it right. All right, let's go. Welcome to Evidence-Based Audio Engineering and Education. This is episode 209, The Cold Hard Truth. So NAMM's coming up. When is NAMM? When is NAMM show? Hold on. 2023 dates. April 13th. Wow, that's coming up. Was that next week? Very soon. So here we go. So, of course, people are talking about what's coming. Here's some new music news from SafeSpace. Solid State Logic launched System T for Music. SSL is launching System T for Music, offering the latest music production workflows, including Dolby Atmos with up to 9.1.6 monitoring, superior digital audio handling, and legendary SSL production tools. It's a lot of sales words. What is this actually doing? What is this thing? Is it a mixer? It is. Thing looks beautiful, I mean, back in the day, we had to have SSLs everywhere, and this is much more advanced than those ones were, I'm sure. But I don't know what I'd really do with a giant console anymore. You guys might remember I had one here when we were first starting the show. I gave it a couple of tries, one of those big Midases. We just don't use consoles anymore. I try, but I don't even use the faders, but it looks cool. It's a big surround movie mixing thing. I don't know what this will matter for us making records or whatever it is that we do nowadays, making MP3s. Okay. Harrison Consoles introduces MixBus 32C version 9. New mixer, new sound. I like this, what they have to say. Your best mixes happen when you are in the flow. And how many times have we talked about on here ergonomics and how much they matter to actually getting work done? Every time like I want to record a guitar part, but maybe a string is broken or any major adjustment on the guitar, it just stops you right then and there. So I like flow. The most important feature of a mixer is the unique ability to work on many tracks at once, boosting a little here and cutting a little there. We call this mixing in context, and is largely this ability to stay in the flow that makes MixBus stand apart from other DAWs. How exactly? Well, let's see what's new in V9. We've updated the sound, look, and operations of the mixer page. Scroll down to learn more. Multi-bus VST3 instruments. MixBus 32C now supports multiple optional buses when defined by a VST3 plugin that can create appropriately named tracks. MixBus informs the plugin about the user's configuration, and the smart VST3 plugins can now adapt when your track signal flow changes. And the new Blonde Bop drum instrument from AVL Drums. I don't know what that means. Does this mean that this DAWs are finally going to catch up to what Reaper was in 2006 or whatever with the actual routing? Upgraded full feature compressor on every channel. A new EQ that's an even more accurate recreation of the 1975 analog EQ circuit. All new gate expander. A new drive button on every channel strip. High pass filter on the MixBus tone equalizer. 2 tape saturation colors. And master voice compressor. I mean, if you like this program, this is probably really cool updates. It's not going to pull me off a Reaper, I'm sure, but cool. Okay, DPA Microphones unveils new drum mic and kit at NAMM 2023. You guys probably know that if it says DPA on it, it's going to be so expensive you don't want to leave it on your drum set. But let's see what we got. It's scary just how much the cheap microphone kits look like the expensive microphone kits, because this really looks like it. This looks like 3 like 81 style snare tom kind of clip-ons. Maybe a kick drum mic. 3 small diaphragm condensers. Let's see what this really says. Comprised of the brand's acclaimed 4055 drum mic, as well as the 2020-12 cardioid and a stereo pair of the new 2015 wide cardioids. The kit also features 3 of the brand's renowned 4099 core instrument mics, with consideration for durability at the forefront of this solution. Yes, please. The kit has been rigorously tested to perform flawlessly for all types of music genres and designed to withstand the demands of life on the road. I'm happy if tom mics can withstand the demands of life in the studio. I'm sure this ain't gonna be Joe. Yeah, 3,890 euros. Okay. Well, it's DPA. It's gonna cost a lot. All right. Rupert Neve Designs introduces the new RNDI 8, so it's an 8-channel DI. Not really sure what you do with that, but it says Neve on it, and it's a DI, so I'm sure it's fine. Features Neve's custom designed output transformers. Let's see, 8 independent RNDI channels. $2,000 for 8 DIs. Ooh, I think I'll buy those. What is those $20 or $30 ones that we tested that worked so well? I think I'll take those. But there is a thread, Neve RNDI versus Countryman. I don't care. Okay. Neumann unveils the MT48 audio interface. Okay, now this I am very interested in. Neumann's got their own audio interface. Now, do they get RME to make their drivers, or is this going to be like when a lot of the other super high-end brands make their own audio interface and they end up with Desicon drivers or the Sycon.D, whatever it is? What is this going to be? So let's take a look. So their first ever audio interface, the MT48. It's just hype. MT48 audio interface is the first product with merging technologies inside. Now, is that the one guys who made Pyramix way back in the day? Swiss brand is famous among audio professionals for its expertise in premium ADDA conversion and networked audio. The MT48 features additional USB and ADAT connectivity, as well as new user interface optimized for maximum ease use in the studio. 78 dB a gain in the mic preamps. Now that's nice. So it has 4 analog inputs and 8 analog outputs, and is expandable via ADAT and AES67. Wait, so when they say 48, they just mean 4 in, 8 out, and you got ADAT in and out, so it gives you another 8 channels, so 12 channels. I don't give a crap. I thought it was going to be 48 channels. Yeah, I mean, really, what's going to matter is who made the drivers. If Desicon made the drivers, I don't care, man. Just go buy one of those Audience or Neumann or Neve or $2,000. They're $1,850 for US for this thing. There's so many products out there with. I mean, honestly, I'd just go and buy the RME Digiface USB. I've got 2 of them. I love them. You're going to get 32 channels rather than 12. I don't know. I'm sure it's cool. It looks like an RME Babyface, basically, for about the same money as an RME Babyface. So maybe it's okay. Really matters what the drivers are. All right, now here's something terrifying. Hush releases AI-powered tool for removing noise and reverb from spoken audio. And I'm telling you, this AI stuff is getting so crazy good. I don't see our jobs being around that much longer, honestly. kind of depressing, actually. But this is one of those functions that AI can do that you really just can't. I mean, you give yourself all the time in the world, and you're not going to make it that much better. But some of these AI things where they can just rip stuff out of existing recordings. I mean, way back when Melodyne did DNA, that direct node access where you could take apart chords and stuff. That's just incredible. And if this thing actually works and can remove noise and reverb from spoken audio, that is amazing. Think of what that's going to do to the podcast world. I mean, holy crap. Does that mean I don't have to worry about acoustic treatment anymore? I doubt it, but kind of sounds that way, right? I originally designed the app to clean up my own audiobook narration after moving into an apartment next to a dog park and a major road. Yeah, it sounds cool. $50. You know, if this thing works, this is awesome. Who knows? First tests are quite impressive. Too bad there's no preview possibility. So the developer's actually up on Safe Space talking to people and responding to them, which is how we like to see developers do. Like, you guys know you can find me on any of these forums, right? You can always get a hold of me. We like responsive developers. You know, of course, with Reaper, with Audio Assault, us. It's not too many, but there's some. So this is really cool. The author of this thing is making it. I'd like to try it out. $50. If it works at all. Let's see. Mouth declicker is on the roadmap. So see, this guy was doing some sort of podcast thing. So this is actually pretty good. Okay. So I'm interested in this. I'm going to go over to the Gear forums. This is where we all are hiding out from TGP, the Gear page. They're just full of shill mods that ban you for asking for evidence. So here's so somebody's talking about products and rumors. Mesa Mark 7. Rev said something about new amps, 2 new amps and a pedal. A combo. Line 6. Who knows what Line 6 is going to be? They have been quiet. Digital Igloo, who's one of the Line 6 workers who shows up on forums, has said March to April is about the busiest time of the year. I would guess another plugin aimed at a more vintage crowd, a Helix firmware update. Yes, please. Maybe new Pod Go type combo. From Line 6, I'd really love to see some... I still love my Helix, man. I don't want it to ever go away. Synergy, the BE Deluxe, PV5150. I don't even know what that is. Fractal, Neural. Yeah, let's see about what Neural DSP has to say. Let's see if anybody actually has anything in here. I predict a really tame NAM in comparison to previous years. Yeah, it could be. These guys mostly look at the guitar stuff. I think these are just predictions. Fenders is like a Strat. Okay. All right. So let's get to the meat of this one. This was Cold Hard Truth, right? So I'm going to go over to Safe Space, and there's a thread here that really kind of sums up everything we talk about in this channel. It's called The Never-Ending Search for Pixie Dust and Does It Matter? So he says, like many here, I have a nice collection of top-shelf gear. A mic collection that could pay for a new car. Yeah, most of us do at this point. Even more money in outboard, plenty of plugins, and let's not even talk about what I've spent on speakers, room treatment, and a ton of other stuff. And let's talk about cables, man. Like, he's not mentioning this, but cabling... You know, back in the day when you had patch bays in your studio, I mean, cabling was so much money. It was more than all the gear you bought. I love it all and still have a big list of gear I want to try, always searching for that magical piece of gear that is going to make everything I produce sound better. Hint, it doesn't exist. Or at least fix whatever problem I had to fight on my last mix. Now, that's a different story. But it might not be gear. It might be technique. But I have to admit, there are plenty of sub-$200 mics that sound great. Tons. And if you couldn't do a record on sub $200 mics, you can't do a record. You know, The preamps and converters in those little 2, 4, 6, 8 channel audio interfaces sound just fine. Yes. I've been saying that for years. I actually went out and measured them and published the results. So, yes. And every DAW out there comes with a perfectly usable stock plugins for everything you really need. And that's true. There's some little things like auto-tune or drum triggers maybe, but there's plenty of free stuff out there. So what if you could only use stock plugins, an inexpensive interface, and mics that were $200 or less? How big a difference would there be in the end product? Would the average listener even hear the difference? All right, well, you know, on my YouTube channel, there are plenty of examples of using, you know, like those $100 mic kits and cheap everything, and I think sounds fine. My gut tells me in most cases, no, the average person wouldn't notice any difference. Neither would the not average person. Or if they did, people would be divided over which was better. In fact, we might even be divided. So why do we keep chasing magical gear? Because idiots make stupid magical claims on forums all the time. After giving this lots of thought, my answer is workflow. That's a different thing. Okay. But like we've said plenty of times, even on this same episode, ergonomics matters. You know, if you only have to think about getting a good recording rather than fixing this or rerouting that or moving this mic, you're going to get such a better song out of it every time. Great gear just makes it easier, not necessarily. Sure, the DAW's EQ will work fine, but with an EQ with predefined frequencies bands or a cue that automatically changes the degree of boost cut helps you dial in things faster. Maybe, if that's what you want. Great mics and pre's do some amount of EQ and comp for you. No, they don't. Great compressors have a nice EQ shift to them and so on and on. They really don't. You guys wouldn't be able to, no matter all these audio sommeliers think they can tell the difference between mic preamps, and we've shown so many times that they can't. Full of crap. Let's face it, most end users are listening on crappy systems. Usually at best it's compressed bitrate and bitrate limited streamed audio to a cheap converter in their phone going over Bluetooth to some cheap earbuds. How likely are they to hear the difference between a stock plugin and a piece of high-end gear? Okay, first of all, you're assuming there's a difference. There may be. There may not be. I mean, you know, plenty of plug-in EQs use the same DSP as anything else is going to use. But there's this claim that, you know, more accurate speakers are going to show the differences more. Maybe that's true if there's less distortion and there's less noise or something. And of course the bandwidth matters, but a drastic change is going to sound drastic on cheap earbuds or whatever. It's not like, have you ever, okay, if you really want to try something, put some earbuds in and send your DAW's output to them and just go to like MDA or any of those, you know, free plug-in things that has a frequency sweep and sweep it. You'll be blown away by how much flatter most of your crappy earbuds are than your studio monitors. Go ahead and try it. See, I know that's the stupidest claim you've ever heard anybody say, but go try it and then let me know what happens. And so he says, to finish off, I really believe the high-end gear gets me there faster and I have no plans to give it up. Why do we keep searching for pixie dust? Are we fooling yourselves? Yes, you are fooling yourselves. But sometimes the high-end gear does get you there faster. If your mic's not broken because it's a piece of crap, that helps. I don't know if that makes it high-end, but, you know, if you got stuff that's more reliable, that's good. It doesn't necessarily mean that high-end is going to be more reliable. There's a lot of cases the other way. Somebody answers, I don't know about pixie dust, but I'm chasing new gear to get the sound in my head, out of my head and into the music that's coming out of my speakers, and because it's fun and because I don't have children to feed. So most of the time when people ask stuff like this, they get just annihilated by mostly sunken cost fallacy people. Hey, I bought this piece of gear that somebody told me had magic pixie dust in it, and I have to defend my purchase to the death so I don't feel like an idiot. Is he really, if this place hadn't changed its name to Safe Space, this kind of post right here would make a lot more sense. To me, buying new or used equipment is not something I do for the listener. It's fun to buy or try new gear. It literally brings joy to some. Pro audio recording music is a weird hobby. See, that's the difference. It's a hobby. We collect expensive stuff, but we also get to use it to create something new. Kind of hard to explain to people who are more into sports, cars, movies, gardening, etc. I don't know about that. And yes, those pixie dust boxes are out there. I'll keep searching for them. Just too much fun. Somebody says, I have no idea who this is. It's like anonymous. Did they ban this guy or something? Interesting. Wait a second. Where are people's names? Did they get rid of them? Oh, this is bizarre. Like, I don't know if I broke my safe space because I can't tell who's writing what. It used to be able to tell. Am I looking right at the name? Nyberg. Okay, it says if you mouse over. Sorry about this. Okay. So this is, I have no idea who this is. Make a test, remix identically one of your projects with plugins only, then you'll see all those gears are worth it. To me, digital sounds like crap for audio treatment. Okay, so here's one of these guys, right? Here you go. Few cases where digital is useful. Look ahead limiters. To me, it's just a hi-fi multi-track recorder. I learned with digital, but really happy to be full analog now. Sounds way better. Now, this guy's not going to provide any evidence. I can guarantee it. This is the kind of post where people will absolutely refuse to provide evidence. This is when they talk about faith being the most dishonest position that you can possibly take, because you hold it despite all evidence, in the face of all evidence, and no amount of evidence will sway you. This is faith. If digital was so good, if listeners just didn't care, money do or don't, that's for sure, why vintage became so pricey? Why, really? Why has vintage stuff become so pricey? Why was somebody able to sell a stupid guitar pedal a couple weeks ago for $10,000 that would have cost you like $100 the week before? Because people are idiots. When you tell somebody that something's got magic in it, they'll pay crazy money for it, and they can't hear it themselves. How many shootouts do we need to have between mic preamps before you guys will admit that not only are there no real differences between any of the decent ones, but that you, who claim to be able to hear the difference, cannot even pick which one is which. Ever. Stop lying. Why high-end gears are still selling like crazy? 2/3 of the money in the audio industry are made by selling gears, not guitars or synth, but gears. Guess why? Is that true? 40 years that the digital came with the so-called revolution was supposed to sound better. Better, it depends, really. In terms of free, clean from noise, yes, but sonically, it's a big no. Why? What? Clean and free from noise? That sounds pretty good to me. Decades the digital is promising to evolve and getting better, promising it will replace totally the analog. Still never see a digital mic or digital preamps. Well, it's because we live in an analog world. But it won't. We're still using ADDA. Yeah, because the world is analog. Digital is constantly trying to emulate analog. Well, only to please idiots like you. And whatever people say is far from being close. Well, since I guarantee you can't tell the difference between one of these capturing, profiling guitar amps, or even the modeling ones in a real amp. I would love to do that ABX test with you. Digital sound, digital, too much treble and always harsh. Really? When it's flat, ruler flat, it's going to be too much treble? Lack of deepness in lows. Wow, now it sounds like Mixer Man, right? Lack of presence in mediums, just crazy harsh treble always. Digital is just a simulation of the real world. That's it, a simulation, not the real deal. Hey, you're talking about recording albums onto sandpaper, and you want to talk about what's real and what's not real? Your analog tape is sandpaper. Well, come on, let's get real. This is the Matrix. How Morpheus would say, this is the world they put in front of your eyes to hide you from the truth. What truth? The real world is analog. Yes, the real world is analog. Sort of. Until you get down to like Planck length and Planck time, right? Then now you're talking about digital. You have the whole point of quantum mechanics is that you have discrete values. So the world really is digital. It's digital at a much finer scale than 24 bits, but it's still digital. Some people are mixing and mastering in the box. Jokers. No problem. We are in a tasteless area of tasteless music. They are making a living by mixing those crappy music. Okay, good. Because I won't do it. In the box or out of the box, same fight. We have those crappy music because people accept money to mix master them. Instead of saying to them, we don't do this, go learn music and instruments and come back in 10 years. I'm getting some distinct get off my lawn vibes with this one, but whatever. Sound engineer have a huge responsibility in the actual situation. Since the 90s, all those independent studios wanted to be pro, ready to accept any job on crappy music to be able to make a living. This is where it leads, let's be honest. Many jokers that come here to show up about this and that are actually the ones that created this situation. Your path is better searching for excellence, quality, etc. Just keep in mind that actually real music won't be exposed and listened to so much. People are fed with crappy music made by boring people. You won't make that much money with good music. Everything will be complicated, long, and expensive. But hey, this is how music will be reborn. In the underground by real passionate and talented people, not from a buzz on YouTube. Enjoy what you have. Do good music. Just don't care of this world turning completely crazy. Just do good music with your good tools. Yeah. Sorry about that. So here's somebody answering. This is the effects. Vintage gear prices have nothing to do with the listeners. It's true. That is absolutely true. Except for, if those one of those chodes that's like, oh, I'm making an actual vinyl record. It's a simple case of supply and demand. The prices are up because crazy people like you and me have a demand for vintage gear. Yeah, there you go. Now this guy is, whoever that guy is with the no name, let me just see who this is. It's in my studio. No, hey, that's who it is. Okay. Yes, but why this demand? It's not just a fashion. These tools are great. Really? Let's see some evidence for that. Even with the electronic evolution, they're very good. Some very old tools can still provide better sonic than what we do today, believe it or not. Really? Show me. Look, I know some hardware reverbs that I would love to see in a plugin, but that doesn't mean that the plugin couldn't do it much better if we just made that plugin, which we're working on, by the way. I never said it was linked to listeners. I don't care about listeners who are not supposed to not care. All those ideas about listeners are actually pretty stupid. We must be experts of sonic sounds, that's all, and use this expertising to treat audio the best way, that's all. Those thoughts about I should sell every gears because people don't care, no matter they care or not. Our specialty is provide the best audio treatments possible. End of story. Best is analog. Let's go analog. Why is best analog? Best at what? You ain't best at noise, not best at distortion. You are not best at dynamic range. You're not best at frequency response. What is it best at? All right, let's see. Time to stop this cost-effective and recallability craziness that leads many people to prior crappy digital. Sounds, recording, mix, mastering always have been the path of searching for optimum excellency. People who don't get that should do something else. Okay. So this guy says, I'm not interested in another analog versus digital argument. And if I read the Opie's first correctly, he isn't either. Distinct and defined aesthetic and quality production still comes through to the listener no matter what format setup they're listening on. And I'll tell you, you may end up actually absolutely hating this this particular example. Let me make sure I'm not. Sorry. Yeah, you might hate this, but think about Aqua. I'm talking like Aqua, like Barbie Girl, Dr. Jones, all that stuff. Now, you can hate that kind of stuff all you want, but it sounds really good. I mean, by then, the kind of digital production techniques were pretty damn good. Now, somebody's going to tell me that it was recorded on analog tape with an analog console, and actually, I doubt it, but it could be. But it sounds good. Venga Boys stuff, that sounds good too. That was kind of early for the DAW days, if there wasn't even DAWs. Maybe. Any of that stuff though, any of your techno-y kind of stuff you guys got now, you got tons of that stuff now. All that DDR stuff, a lot of it was definitely done on a DAW. Some of that sounds amazing. And as much as we like the old stuff, this stuff's just clearer, you know. I don't like, volume war stuff. I don't like when stuff is squished to all hell. But that's got nothing to do with analog or digital. That's just the people are playing this stupid volume wars game. That's not it's not, yeah. Oh yeah, really. Somebody saying, yeah, that some of this stuff was actually done on 2-inch tape. I don't know, could be. However, I do not chase vintage gear at super inflated, greedy prices. Yeah, good. Modern gear offers much lower noise, significantly better signal to noise ratio, higher headroom, much better reliability. Modern setups can also offer tone. Fie upon Vintage King absurd price drivers and the shit-ass Nashville retro gear price inflators. They all look like bearded Civil War highwaymen who lie in wait to seize your purse. I like this one. Who is this now? Wow, why did they take the names out? This is A440. In my experience, the quality of a recording is secondary to the composition, arrangement, and performance in terms of success. I've spent money tracking and mixing in Neve console-equipped studios and pro mastering, only to be received with indifference. I've also released work recorded, mixed, and mastered in my modest in-the-box home studio that has been well received and popular. The quality of recording is much better from the pro studio, but it hasn't translated to commercial success. My home recordings aren't bad, but they don't have that sheen of pixie dust a pro recording studio offers. Still, it doesn't seem to matter to my listeners. I'm sure it has a lot to do with my luck and timing too, but it does make me ponder. And like always, anytime this kind of thing goes up, I'll just bring up the Misfits, right? Stuff was recorded like crap, and yet people go back and buy that original Misfits stuff over and over and over and over again. So here, okay, so who is this? This is from Gravy Face. He's going to make a claim that we talk about a lot of here. Sometimes people call it color. I don't know, color. I think that's what they mean by color sometimes. I think the only thing missing from most modern entry-level interfaces and most stock plugins would be distortion, saturation, which is all over every popular music recording since the golden era. That would be tough to replicate with Reaper alone, despite having some really excellent JS plugins to do just that or feature that part of a sound. Scott Stillwell adaptations. Wow, it's kind of cool that he mentions Reaper, but I would say that's not true at all. There's plenty of stuff out there that'll distort your stuff. What kind of distortion you want? It's all out there. It's kind of interesting what he said about there, though. I don't know. I think this is No Hey again. I don't know if I really want to know. So I like, I tell you from my experience that not only average listeners can't tell the difference, even super pros can't tell. Yes. Especially when there is no difference, but these super pros claim there's a difference and that they can obviously hear the difference, but then they never can when you actually test them. Why some care about the delusional myths and chase that sound, whatever that may be, is beyond me. Simple minds falling for prey of lunatic advertising. I can't describe it any other way. Okay, I'm not sure if this is that same guy, because this makes way too much sense. Who is this now? Oh, okay, this is White Axe. All right, I don't know why it doesn't show the names. This is so weird. But that's definitely true. And these victims swear they can hear the difference because they are more sensitive to these things than the average idiot producer who uses stock plugins. On the one hand, facepalm. On the other hand, snoozing on the third hand. Or laughing on one hand, facepalm on the other hand, and snoozing on the third hand. The solution could be to learn some things about physics, stop lying to oneself, make music, F all deranged opinions. But who am I? I am an illusionist. I make air moving. Yeah, there you go. Somebody's responding to the real world is analog with, no, the real world is the real world. Analog recording is analogous to the sound. In this way, a digital recording is actually an analog to the real sound. It's no more a simulation than a recording made on tape. Analog. Noun, a person or thing seen as comparable to another. That's a good point, right? Once sound goes through the diaphragm of a microphone, it ceases to be real and becomes an analog of reality, whether the capsule is digital or tape. They're both simulations, just different kinds, neither better nor worse than the other. I don't know that, well, I don't know that I'd go that far, but okay. Anyway, I think we've beaten this dead horse enough. Yeah, I think we talked about Headrush Prime last week. I'm still waiting to test the newer versions of the software that thing's based on. I'm not sure what I can and can't talk about right now. On our front for AIX DSP, we're still moving forward. Hopefully we got some stuff for you guys this week. We shall see. But I think that's about it for me. I have some stuff to take care of. And I'll see you guys next week. Later.